you're looking at the newest and biggest crossover SUV that Lexus makes, and that translates to more space inside. Did Lexus make a good use of that space? Let's take a closer look. Looking at the car from the front, you can definitely see that Lexus is holding to its latest design language, which has this like front spindle kind of looking thing. To me, it looks most similar to the new Lexus RX, and on the TX, I think it looks okay, not great. To me, it's just a little bit exaggerated here. It's a little bit much. Now, because this is an F Sport Performance, we do actually have a unique front fascia with the details here, so that just makes it stand out a tiny touch more. And I have to say, I do like the polished metal elements here, the polished metal elements here and here, and I do think that this is a really sharp looking kind of like inverted check mark daytime running light here just above the headlamps. Also, this hood and the front fenders are actually made of aluminum, but I bet you're just like me and much more curious to see what's under the hood. And there is your transversely mounted or side-to-side turbocharged 2.4 liter inline 4 hybrid motor with 2 electric motors helping it out, one in front, one at the rear axle. Put it all together, you get a grand total of 366 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Not bad at all. Also, you can tell from the heat shield back here that the turbocharger is in the back right there as well. Also, I do have to say that the center line of the front axle is right about here. So kind of where this line is here. So a lot of the engine is ahead of the front axle, but it could be worse. You do have some bits behind the front axle center line, and you do also have the electric motor and the battery pack to help balance the weight towards the rear just a little bit. So yeah, it's not too bad. I think it's fascinating to see that we have such a big space for the engine bay, but not a very big engine to occupy it. And I will say happily that the engine is also tucked quite low. So overall, it's encouraging to see some of the aspects of what's going on under the hood of this Lexus TX. Oh, and finally, windshield washer fluid goes right here. Looking at the Lexus TX in profile, you get a sense of how big it truly is, over 200 inches long overall. I'll go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen for you to check out and let you know that I have a lot more information in the description. Now, you're looking at what Lexus calls Incognito, the paint color, and this is exclusive to the F Sport Performance TX models. And, you know, it's an interesting color. I don't know if it wows me so much, but it is fairly unique. Also, because this is an F Sport Performance, we have black side view mirror covers, we have black roof rails right here, and we have this dark chrome window trim right here. And generally speaking, we have what I think is a pretty interesting design. It's a touch on the busy side, if I'm honest, but it's not altogether bad. I do like this character line that's kind of formed in between the two doors right here, and this lower cowl right here, I think adds just a little bit more presence. And I do think that this is a tastefully sized F Sport logo right there. And they did some interesting treatment on the doors here. You have this dark finish at the top and the bottom, but then paint color right here for the part that faces out. Overall, this design is squared off and I think gives a strong, standing tall kind of presence. Standard wheel size on a Lexus TX 350 is a 20-inch wheel, but it can be optioned with a 22-inch. However, the TX 500H, like this, and the 550H Plus comes with 22-inch wheels as standard. And for the F Sport Performance, we get this dark finish. And yes, the wheel size in front is the same as the wheel size in back. Looking at the car from the rear, I think this is the highlight in terms of design. I think it's clean. I like that it just pretty much chops down vertically. We don't have some massive sloping hatch to rob space of the rear cargo area. Yes, we do have a rear spoiler for all that needed downforce, but no, it's not overly sized or anything like that. I also do like this light beam that goes straight across the full width of the car for the tail lights, and I think there's interesting color contrast as you go down the vehicle. I could do without these faux diffuser bits right here, but I am very, very happy to see that we do not have any kind of fake exhaust, anything. We do have dual exhaust tips. They are here and there, right where they should be. All right, let's take a look at cargo space. With all the seats up, we have 20 cubic feet of storage space, and it's a nice, reasonably low loading floor as well. We do have a touch of space underneath the floor here, but that's mainly for the jack and those types of things if you have a flat tire. We do also have a couple little hooks here, and some nice lighting up here and here. And if you need more than 20 cubic feet of storage space, but don't have to carry 6 people, that is very easy to do. And with a couple clicks of a button, you now have 57 cubic feet of storage and room for 4, and all 4 people get nice captain's chairs on top of that. That also exposes a couple of more hooks right here, which you can use to store more stuff. Now it does slope up a little bit. It's not completely flat, but it is still a lot of space. But if you need more, still pretty easy to do. And with a couple pulls of the lever on each seat, you now have 97 cubic feet of storage and space for 2. And I think pretty clearly ample space for my bike, but let's find out just how ample. If I move it up to be close to the back of the front seats, you can see I have a good 3 feet of space after my bike. So yeah, plenty of space for my bike and plenty of space to spare. All right, let's check out the inside. Real quick, these are the buttons that I use to power up and down the 3rd row. And beneath that, this does have the optional $560, 120 volt, 1500 watt outlet right there. That could power some decent stuff. Okay, I got my bike out, but I did leave one of the seats folded down so you can see what I mean when I say pull a couple levers. You have to pull this one and this one right here. This 3rd one right here actually moves the seat fore and aft like that. To put it back up, just lift the seat back up. But if you want to get into the 3rd row, you actually only have to hit one button, this one right here, and it electrically does all the steps for you. And now with that back, I can show you that while everything about lifting and folding the 3rd row seats is electrically driven with those buttons, you do have to physically push the headrest back up. Now, these seats are not the most comfortable for adults, but it's actually not that bad. I am 5 foot 11 inches or 181 centimeters tall, and I have some knee room, 2 or 3 inches, and I have a little bit of thigh support, but the seat is quite low, so not that much. And as you can probably guess, I do have a lot more than a 90-inch bend in my knees. That said, I almost have enough headroom as well, and I do have a USB Type-C charge port right there, a button to move the seat backward and forward, and some cup holders as well. But okay, that's enough of that. To the 2nd row. Okay. This looks a lot better. Real quick, I will tell you that this interior color is called birch, and it looks lovely. Also, before I get in, I will say that if you get captain's chairs, the TX will seat 6 people. If you get the Lexus TX 350, you can also get a 2nd row bench that seats 3, so it seats 7 people. But if you get the 2nd row captain's chairs, you get heated and ventilated seats for those chairs. Also, you do have your own climate control zone right here. You also have more USB ports. You also have another 1500 watt AC outlet right there. And you don't have a center armrest that folds, but you have your own individual armrest that folds, and it adjusts too, which is always a nice touch. And this is interesting. You have these like squared off cup holders right here, but if you see here, it says unlock. they're removable. So if you'd rather have more space for bigger items, you can do it that way. And finally, you get sunshades as well. How lovely. All right, to the front. Because we have an F Sport, we have aluminum pedals and this nice F Sport kick plate right here. We have the typical controls on the door. We also have a Mark Levinson sound system. I think it's 21 speakers. It's a lot of speakers. We also have these solenoid driven door handles right here. So that's a nice little touch. And if you need to mechanically open them, that's how to do that. We do also have plenty of seat controls, including lumbar support right here, which is always nice. And we have these controls to the left of the steering, including 3-position seat memory right here, which is an unusable space for it, but a convenient one too. Plus, Lexus is really good about having these extra little spaces here. I like this little pocket kind of space right here. I think that's nice as well. We also have electrically adjusting tilt and telescope for the steering right here. Now, for the standard Lexus TX, you get a synthetic leather material, but the luxury trimmed TX gets real leather for the seats. Power buttons right here. You're looking at a fully digital 12.3-inch instrument cluster, and right next to that, the standard 14-inch center console touchscreen. You can also see that the front seat also has heated and ventilated seats. We also have a heated steering wheel as well. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto is also part of this 14-inch screen, as is the virtual assistant. Hey Lexus.
What do you want to do?
Set the temperature to 68 degrees.
Setting the driver's temperature to 68 degrees.
Lovely. Looking down, we do have an actual volume knob right there, and you can press it to turn the radio on and off as well. And beneath that, we have a couple of vents and 3 more USB Type-C ports right there. You have 7 USB Type-C ports in all. And this car also has the advanced parking and the surround view monitor cameras right there. Those 2 things are part of the technology package, which is a $2,380 option. That package also gets you a digital rear view mirror and a head-up display. More standard equipment includes this wireless charge pad right here, a pretty standard looking Prindle right there, and more of those removable cup holders right here. Beneath the Prindle, you also get the traction control on-off, an electric parking brake, and this is trail mode. If you turn on trail mode, this little guy comes up right there, and that uses the all-wheel drive system and the anti-lock brakes to help reduce any wheel slipping when you're on wet or uneven roads, according to Lexus at least. Looking down even further, we do have this lower center console space that does go pretty darn deep to offer lots of space. Looking up, we do have some lights and things like that, as well as controls for your panoramic moonroof, which does include an electric privacy panel right here. Lovely. The steering wheel itself is unique to the F Sport, and it has media controls on the left and some cruise controls on the right. And we do, of course, have paddle shifters, upshift on the right, downshift on the left. And because we have the convenience package, we also have this driver monitor camera right here and some other safety tech. It's $895. Okay, let's talk drive modes. We have 4 drive modes: normal, sport, eco, and custom. Now, this car does have adjustable shock absorbers. So if you go to custom, you can in fact change the powertrain, the suspension, and the steering, and the air conditioning. So it's nice to have those kinds of options to help change the chassis behavior of this car, not just the powertrain. And speaking of changing chassis behavior, I think it's a good time to play with that. Let's get back to the drive. This is a 2024 Lexus TX 500h F Sport Performance.